Hello and welcome to another devlog for Peasant Uprise. Before I could move on with the Scion cult, I actually had to implement a new game mechanic. Diseases. While we are currently experiencing what a global pandemic looks like, this is not really new in the history of humankind. In fact, medieval times diseases were often lethal, and if contagious, they sure could wipe out most of the population. In Peasant Uprise, the player will be grouping together a number of people under, let's just say, mediocre conditions at best. So illness is just bound to happen. I have implemented 4 types of diseases, and they all kind of work in a similar way. They are all small debuffs to particular stats, but for an extended period of time, in a way that they won't immediately crash your playthrough, but if left unattended, it could mean game over. The length of these diseases is also weighted by the game difficulty chosen. Starting with the most severe, the plague will inflict a health debuff over time on all your peasants, and it will also lead to another disease, depression, which is a morale debuff over time. Then we have the common flu, which will inflict an energy debuff over time, and we also have diarrhea, which will inflict a fullness debuff over time. So let's take this for a test run. I do have my peasants all happy and jolly, full of health, energy, etc. So let's start with a bit of diarrhea. And that's definitely not pleasant. As you can see in the peasant information panel, we can now see a debuff in effect. Now that our peasants are throwing up all over our camp, we can move on to the flu. And this one, we can actually see it on the right panel as well. With our peasants weakened and hungry, let's finish it off with a full-blown plague. And at this state, the peasants are not going to be in any condition of doing any work and will surely not last too long in battle. Of course, this is a bit extreme, as it will not be possible for all diseases to kick off at the same time, but you can see how keeping your peasants happy and healthy will be important for a successful rebellion. So how it works? Well, there are 2 main factors that will improve the odds of a disease to break out, and that is time and how crowded your rebellion is. In other words, the more peasants you have living together for a long time, the higher the chances. But there are also a few things that can be done to prevent diseases, like building a campfire and a tent. And also there are ways to prevent depression by keeping your peasants happy. Having a stage facility will allow you to play some tunes or to keep the peeps happy. And if you have a bard in the rebellion, the effects will be amplified. Of course, you have to keep an eye out on grief or loss, and having an altar and a priest will be key to reduce the grief period as much as possible. There is a final thing the player can do against diseases, but I'll cover that in the next devlog, when I talk about the Science cult. I feel as though with each new mechanic, all the pieces of the game are coming together. And while there is quite a bit of combat in Peasant Uprise, I do want to emphasize that it also counts with management or survival elements that blend together nicely to create a unique experience. If you like my content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell to receive notifications. And if you're interested in Peasant Uprise, you can go ahead and wishlist it in Steam. As a quick update on game progress, I'm currently wrapping up testing of the first 8 levels. So that means that the second testing phase should kick off probably by the end of this week. With that said, I'll see you in the next update.